Welcome back to another episode of the T and Moths Podcast. We got the normal crew with you with Moths Bros, TZLife, and JRinkz. Bringing on our second guest now. We've had CJ on. You probably listened to that one. Coming back with another guest. Also kind of in the MLB The Show community. That's kind of how I met him. Man's rocking his own podcast as well. It's one podcast, but it's multiple podcasts. So we got he over there bringing in other gamers, big wrestling fan, football fan, UNC fan, the man, the myth, the legend, the mookd0g. Mookie, how's it going?
Bro, when I tell you it's immaculate and Carolina's in the title game, that's how I'm feeling about it, baby.
Always the beer crack, and it's always so crisp. There's never a fail. You never miss the pull.
When you become a professional, whatever, you know what I'm saying? You do your craft. It's like, I remember Lil Wayne said on a dedication too, he's like, I don't think I'm better than anyone physically. I don't think I'm better than anyone spiritually. But when it comes to this, I think I am the best at it. You know, I hope everyone is competitive with their craft. You know, let's do it. That's how I feel, man.
Yeah. So we'll keep it simple. Main towards gaming. Got a couple questions, and we'll just go off of those. I know T always good at coming out with questions on the spot, so he always has those pop in. I just want to kind of get your background, get your gamer tag, the story behind it.
So the gamer tag, pretty much, man. That's mookd0g it's Mook, and then dog is like the D and dog is capitalized or whatever with it, and then 31492, the birthday. You know what I'm saying? We just turned 30, obviously. X on Xbox or whatever. We were PlayStation for a while, but I caught a really good deal with the Xbox One, and I was like, you know what? I can't resist. And honestly, at this point or whatever, I don't know if I can go back to PlayStation's controller. I'm so used to like Xbox being bigger, and I'm like, I like this better.
That's honestly, I switched. I was through PS4 living with my parents. I was like, why would I ever want to switch? I like this. And then I switched. I'm like, I don't ever want to go back.
It's hard, man. It is. It's like looking at it now. It's something else. Also, my Xbox hurt me and just started like doing dumb stuff, but whatever. But yeah, man, I switched over to that and everything. And I mean, as far as how I got into MLB.
Well, I was say the next question almost was, so is mookd0g your first gamer tag? First and only gamer tag?
As far as gamer tags, yeah, I didn't, for the longest, man, I didn't do a lot of like online gaming or whatever. I mean, I think I really started around maybe like was it Modern Warfare era?
Okay.
And I want to say around that time. Yeah, around that time or whatever. I want to say it was also mookd0g or whatever. I don't know if I had all the numbers at the end, but like it was another variation of mookd0g.
Okay.
So it's always kind of been mookd0g in a way. Or Mookie,
nice.
any types of form.
I see people jumping around all the time, so.
So where did the Mook come from?
That's an amazing question, man. I love telling this story. So rest in peace now, man. Like, you know, one of my uncles, you know, I really felt like he was like, you know, like a second father figure to me and everything. You know, of course, just real big OG dude. And his name was Tukey. So I remember my mom was like, yo, at the time she was living with him, she was pregnant with me and everything. And she just came up with Mookie one day. And I like that, it just stuck. Like my whole family calls me. So when they were like, oh, you know, like that's not your real name, I was like, bro, everyone calls me this. My mama, my daddy, my grandma, like everyone up here calls me Mookie and everything. And then my dad, like they always called him P-Dog. You know, his name's Perry. So then, like, it kind of became like a joke on there. Whatever, like, oh, you know, that's like a chip off the old block, or whatever. You know, like mookd0g, and then like that just stuck. Like it just like it came off as a joke, and then I just ran with it. I'm like, no, I'm embracing this. Like, this is a fire name. So, boom, right there.
Catch the nickname and keep it while it's good, right?
You know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, it's everything became organic with the name. It was nothing where it's like, you know, I don't know a lot of people that gave themselves a nickname because like where I came up with like everyone's been the same name since I remember.
True.
That's a beautiful story. I love it.
And the beauty of it is it's just the first thing that happened. Like you didn't force it. You just showed up and people started calling you that and it just worked. It was just a good name.
I love it. And honestly too, whatever, like it's no diss on anybody or whatever. I always say, like, for example, I see people and everything, and I'm like, yo, do people call you that out in the streets? Like, is that what people call you, whatever? Because I'm like, if I went back home, or even where I live at now, here, I've been in Greenville about 6 years now. Like, be like, oh, yo, that's Mook, or that's Mookie, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, A lot of people don't even know my real name. I'm like, I mean, they can. I don't care, or whatever. If you say that, that's cool too. But like, no, that's like everyone knows. Like, yo, that's just Mookie right there. It sticks.
I know how that
That's
feels.
as you say, that's JRinkz to a T, I would say.
No one calls me
But
Jason for years, man.
People call me like PZ a lot.
See, but and that's all. Like, also just fire names and everything. And I remember, like, even when I spoke to Moss and I learned the origin of Moss Bros, because for the fucking longest, I told him, I was like, I did not know if I was saying your name right, dog. I was like, am I supposed to say
there's
Moss?
so many
Moss?
people that'll be like Moss Brothers. How's it going when I follow and stuff?
I thought it was brothers. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was short for brothers too. I was like, I don't, and I never, you never want to offend anyone either. I was just like, am I gonna, like, what I'm gonna do here? I'm just, okay.
I think it's always funny going in and hearing people mispronounce right away. Then they like read it again, because I do the same thing when I'm streaming. I see a new name. It's like could be the easiest name ever, and I'll try to like sound it out, and it's just the most basic name, and I'm just like, how did I mess that up?
Classic, man, classic.
I guess. So I know you mentioned the Modern Warfare 2 and kind of getting into it, but what kind of got you into gaming? What was your first console? All that stuff. Like, what got you in? First game. Backstory into getting into that. Who got you into it, or was it just all you and stuff like that?
That is a great question, and I remember just like that because people have also seen me stream this. So, you know, and I told y'all boys, I was like, yo, I guess it's the beard. I thought you were like my age and everything, but I was like, oh, Moths is young, dog. Like, it's crazy. I have two older brothers and everything, but like just one in particular is 7 years older than me. You know what I'm saying? So between him and then my cousins, I'm the baby in my family. Like like most of us are boys and everything, but I'm the youngest of all of them. So of course, video games was a thing and everything. Like we never really had the Nintendo growing up until I got the 64 later on. But even before the 64, I was playing Sega Genesis since I can remember. And the first game I remember, and like I said, I still stream it or whatever. I still play it. I will always love it, and I need to go watch the movie, even though it looks kind of whatever. Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Okay.
Looking back, I'm like, how did people play this game without analogs? How? Like, can you imagine playing that joint directional? Like, I did that back in the day, and I'm like, how did I do this? No wonder I couldn't beat this game. But no, I still love Sonic to this day. I will always love it. I mean, like those first couple of games or whatever between Sonic, the Lion King game on Sega Genesis, Shinobi, and Mortal Kombat 1 through 3 on Sega Genesis.
Okay.
These kids will never know about the joint freezing, taking it out, blowing on the cartridge, and then putting it back in. These kids won't know that problem, man.
Yeah, I was never Sega Genesis, but I was with the Nintendo 64 doing the same thing. And it says right on there, do not blow into the cartridge.
And we all did it. We all did it, bro. I don't know where it came from or whatever. It worked.
It was a ploy just to sell more games. That's what it was. That's all they were trying to do.
Did y'all do the dumb joint like I did back in the day with the Game Boy? When your batteries start to get low or whatever, you put them in the freezer? Was that a North Carolina thing?
No, I know batteries are supposed to last longer in the freezer.
JRinkz face right now.
But I never did it with the Game Boy.
I didn't either.
We put the batteries in the freezer, bro. I don't know. I looking back, I'm like, that we probably could have killed ourselves.
No, it's supposed to make them last longer. I have heard that. I know people that do that. My mom's side of the family did that for a while.
That's interesting.
Mook, I was gonna say the sound of collecting those rings on Sonic is just
It's
sound. It just brings back memories. It's like I can't even imitate it, but it's like I remember that sound. Or when you get hit or whatever, you lose those rings. You're like,
I'm telling you, not only is it immaculate, it's always going to be a classic or whatever. Even like the little times when I do stream it, just I'll be on some board stuff or whatever, or just before I really got into baseball heavy, and I'm just like, yo, I'm gonna play a little bit of Sonic. How y'all feel about this? And they would be like, yo, this dude is crazy at this game. I was like, bro, I know these maps like the back of my head. I've played them so many times or whatever. And my girl even wants the funniest joy when people like just think, oh, this is easy. Like my girl tried to play it or whatever. And she's like, oh, this is actually hard. And I'm like, well, babe, I've been playing the game since like 92. So, or like 95 or whatever. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. But no, it's incredible. I'm always gonna have love for that game, and maybe one day, or whatever, I'll go back and watch the first Sonic and the new Sonic or whatever with Jim Carrey. It's weird to think of Sonic as a movie now. It's I can't wrap my head around it.
I heard that Jim Carrey say that might be his last movie.
He out here really wilding these days, man. I'm not gonna lie.
He's something else. He
Yeah.
his mind is evolved, and
Yeah.
he's just
He's
trying to
honestly
live
trying to
life,
be like a
you
man
know?
of the people kind of too. Like
I think he went
he's
and
trying
like
to tell
out
how it is.
himself or whatever. So I don't know what's going on with him lately, bro.
Also,
I was
I'm not
watching
sure, but I thought he was
old clips of him from old movies, and I was like, "Whoa!" I forgot how intense he was. Like, he's super funny, obviously, but I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh!" And then now it's like,
If you want to see anything or whatever of just to like what were we like, okay, not even what we were doing or what our parents were doing. Have you guys seen the new Batman?
I have.
Okay. I enjoy and I love that movie. I cannot wait for it to come out on HBO Max, whatever. I'm probably gonna buy a physical copy because I loved it that much. Think about that version of the Riddler, and then think about Jim Carrey's version of the Riddler. Hello, like no. Like what were they doing in those movies, man? We need to talk about a lot of stuff, man. Like they just let fly off in the '90s, right? It was not okay. It wasn't good.
Yeah, completely different. not even. Well, next question I got up on here is, what was your favorite game growing up, and then what is your favorite game now?
Ooh, that is really good, man. Growing up, because I will say, like, Sonic was a thing where, like, I kind of, like, I loved and I had to get back into. But I want to say, growing up, man, it's got to be Pokemon as a series. Like,
Okay.
day one, I had to get every single one. It started with Red, of course, on Game Boy Color, Silver. I had Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2. I mean,
Fire.
like
those are gems.
Ruby Edition. And I remember I fell out around a little bit after Ruby and everything. And I got back into it like, I think my senior year of high school and everything with Platinum.
Okay.
And I played every single Pokemon generation.
which one did you pick? It's important. Who'd you pick at the start? Type.
On which one? Because I could tell you for every single one, I want to say.
Go for it.
Let's just do every single one.
Of course, I had to pick Charmander because I mean, like Bulbasaur was dope, Squirtle was cool and everything, but I was like, yo, it's a freaking dragon, dog.
Exactly.
I had a soft spot for Chikorita, but Chikorita was so not good in Silver that I always had to go with Cyndaquil. So of course I had to do that. And no disrespect or whatever, because a lot of people are Totodile fans or whatever, and they be thinking I'd be just no Totodile, but I'm just like, it's just a giant ass alligator. Let's not do that, dude. Let's keep it real. I will never forget watching the anime and seeing Blaziken for the first time or whatever, and not knowing what it was. And then, of course, I always used to make my parents get me the booklet. So when I realized this little chicken is going to turn into Blaziken, okay, I'm picking Torchic. Yeah, there we go for Ruby. Platinum. You can see a trend here with fire starters or whatever, honestly.
Kind of anyways, so
honestly, just cracked, right? Just cracked. With Platinum, I think I'm pretty sure I went with the fire starter again because I was like, like this and this, but I gotta go with my guy here. So it's I pretty much have picked the fire starter mostly every time.
Yeah, I feel it. I feel it. One thing I was gonna touch on a little back to what you said with Pokemon Stadium. I feel like one area of that game that not enough people ever really know about when it comes to Pokemon, those mini games that they had on Pokemon Stadium, I could spend days just on the mini games. And when I tell you I grew up with two younger sisters that they would literally want to just play the mini games. They could care less about the battle, and we could just play all day. It's so much fun.
Just the little stuff or whatever, like the little Scyther pincer cut. And
yeah, that's the first one that always comes to my mind too.
I'm trying to remember the other ones. I remember there was like a guessing one or whatever. I can't remember.
Yeah,
who was
there's like a
with that.
guessing one. There was one where you're like grabbing presents and making sure you deliver them. They were all just. There's like.
I wasn't very good at Pokemon Stadium.
I
Yeah.
need them to reboot it. I mean, they reboot Pokemon Snap. Like, let's get a new Pokemon Stadium, man. Like, I just sometimes with Nintendo, they just upset me because I'm like, dude, we're gonna continue to buy games or whatever.
Yep.
But they're just like, oh no, we're gonna just give you this. Like, give us the classic games. Like, why? What are you doing? What's that hurting? Oh, we're gonna give you Mario, but you have a year to buy it. If not, we're gonna put it back on and take it away forever. What?
Just keep
Yeah,
selling
I
it.
saw
We'll
that.
sell more.
Yeah. Just give us a Pokemon Stadium with the new Pokemon in it.
Yeah, he's up. The people that are witnessing this or whatever, the legend himself is over. He's getting readjusted. So yeah, look, he's good.
There we go. He wanted to be center frame.
Yeah, he's a diva, man. He loves the attention.
I just saw
They can see me right.
Okay,
Well,
I
now
guess
he's like, yeah.
next question. What got you into, and then kind of your start and backstory into getting into content creation? And I know for you, it's more than just Twitch. You got the whole podcast as well, and I know you do music. So kind of just give us some talking on those. Kind of what got you into that.
Let's go in order here, bro. So music literally started with always been a fan. Always been a fan. Like I mentioned again or whatever. My brother's 7 years older than me, so I knew about everything. He actually went to school for music. You know what I'm saying? As far as even me creating music, it started off where I'm like, okay, everyone's kind of rapping or whatever, doing their thing or whatever. This is like the really, really beginnings of SoundCloud.
Okay.
And it became me and a buddy just being like, yo, like little like freestyles or whatever sessions at like work. And one day being like, yo, I have this like little bootleg microphone or whatever. We're gonna make a song. Okay, cool. And we just started doing it and doing it and doing it. And then like, he was getting better, I was getting better and everything. He started going into whole other stuff, whatever, producing everything. I could never really get into producing like that. And from there, like, just little raps and everything. And that kind of went there. And then I lost it for a little while. And then shout out to, my homie Donnie, man. Like, he honestly got me back into the craft and everything. Like, he really was just like, yo, like, I'm taking this joint seriously. And even the way I met him or whatever was at it was Lil Wayne, T.I., and 2 Chainz concert. And we were just freestyling at the concert. And he was like, yo, bro, like, blah, 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 whatever. I'm an ECU now, whatever. And I was like, dude, I'm moving to Greenville in like a month. Like, that's crazy. He's like, yo, hit me up. And we just started linking everything. He brought the love I had for like making music back. And I've been blessed to be on a lot of songs with him. I was on this album or whatever, on multiple tracks. And he brought that to my attention. In the meantime, between there, I always say, so literally, and I actually have it. I will show y'all. So this is my first microphone right here.
Hey, the Blue Yeti.
I'm talking on a black version of it that my girl ended up buying me later and everything. Shout out to her, much love. But I found this joint one day. Like I used to go on walks. I need to go back on my walks or whatever, actually. But I used to go on walks and everything. And I was literally walking around and just looked and was like, what is that? And this was just chilling here. And I just grabbed it. I was like, whatever. Came home, plugged it up, worked perfect. Just had a little bit of rust on it right there or whatever. You probably can't even see it. Just like a little bit right there.
Yeah.
But besides that, worked perfectly. And I was like, okay, I feel like this is a sign. Like you just don't get stuff like this without things being a sign, right? Like I found this mic and I'm just like, it works perfectly. Somebody just threw it away, like just had it laying on the side of the road or something happened, right? So I'm just like, this is a sign for something and everything. And at the time I wasn't really back into rapping like that. And I've been a fan of podcasts since like 20, either 13 or 14, something like that. And I remember the first couple of podcasts I was getting into, I didn't know you like could actually just do this joint so easily, But I'm so much fans of just stuff or whatever. And it started off with just people just talking about their lives and everything. And from there, of course, I'm big into sports and everyone knows that. So I would listen to all the ESPN pods of certain people I like and everything. And I still rock with certain pods and just different creations of that stuff. So it came around one time in like 2019, and that's always my biggest joke. I was like, yo, I had a pod before the pandemic. Because I'm like, when the pandemic hit, everyone was like, oh, we're doing podcasts now. But no, it literally came to a thing where it's like, I have this mic, I have this, I want to do something. and I was like, am I gonna do podcasts or I'm gonna do Twitch? I remember talking to a homie or whatever, and I was just like he was kind of explaining Twitch to me, and I'm like, I don't know. I was like, maybe I'll come back to Twitch, but
Hmm.
I just right now, whatever. I feel like I just want to get like different forms or whatever. So from there, literally, I'm at work one day and I just started thinking. I'm just thinking about everything, and I'm like, I want the podcast to be a thing, but I also wanted to be like little subgenres within a thing. So then I came up, like, I think literally the first idea I had, of course, because Don't Bite Your Tongue, like, just came to me. And I was like, that's perfect. I was like, Don't Bite Your Tongue with Mookie. That's perfect. That's a ring to it. It's good.
Yeah.
It's me. It's boom.
Fire.
And from there, I just sort of come up with little other ones or whatever. I was like, okay, wrestling or whatever. I was like, wrestling. I was like, it's still real to us, damn it. Like, and that infamous clip right there. Boom, got it. With sports and everything, I was like, the first thing I had in my head was like, or like sports or maybe music. I was like, the first thing that popped in my head was 808s and hot takes. I looked at somebody already had it. I was like, fuck, you know what I'm saying? Because I went and
You
like
knew it
everything
was
I'm
a
thinking in
great
my
idea.
head.
Yeah.
Everything I'm looking in my head, I'm like Googling to be like, yo, is this taken? Is this taken? Because I don't want anything I've done to be like this. Because I joked or whatever too. I'm like, yo, I did Don't Bite Your Tongue. Nobody had that podcast. A year later, there's like 4 other people with it. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. I ended up
Copycat.
thinking of music and I'm like, blah, blah, blah. My man hit me. He was like, yo, what about like Ox Me Later or something? I was like, that's perfect. You know, it's all these joints just started to form in my mind, like literally in one day. It was kind of insane. And even with like the joint I did now, and Moss was a participant of, and a bunch of the other homies. By this point, I wasn't even streaming yet. I was not even streaming. Like I was like, but I had a couple of buddies who were, and I was like, dude, like I love the joint they're doing over here on Twitch or whatever. This is a great platform. Like everyone I'm meeting over here is pretty cool. I'm gonna do a pod where like I put them on or whatever, and I interview them and see what they're doing. So then I'm just like, okay, like what can I think with this? What can I think with this? I was like, like we game or whatever, but then like you don't game all the time or whatever. Oh, you real sometimey. Boom, sometimey gamers. It came just like that. Like it like when I really just lock in and think of joint, it's like sometimes I can't force everything, but when it
But that
comes,
moment.
it's like the light just pops on,
Mhm.
and from there we roll. So like the first 5 something episodes and everything, I'm not even streaming then. I started streaming like maybe like last June or July, something like that.
Hit.
Okay.
Didn't even really know what I was doing. Didn't even have a camera for like the first couple or whatever. My like even now, whatever, like we talked about or whatever, Moss. Like my buddy gave me his old like Connect, and that's how you guys can see me.
That's
Like
how I
everything's
used to
straight on
stream.
Xbox. Yeah, that's it. Because I was like, because I've seen a lot of people that was just like, yo, dude, like like I wasn't even good at this joint yet. And then like even with the podcast, I'm like, yo, I've been doing this. I'm doing this. There's weeks where I'm dropping. I mean, shoot, y'all saw it this past week, whatever. I think we dropped like 5 episodes in a week.
Yeah, you were on every day. I was seeing new one come out.
When I lock in or whatever, sometimes I ain't gonna lie, it's kind of I ain't gonna say unbearable or whatever. Like big shout out to my girl again or whatever. Cause sometimes like I know she's just like, yo, you don't need to stress yourself out or you don't need to do this or whatever. I'm like, but when I really get in a zone, I feel like I can't be stopped. I just have to keep going. Like I have to get it all out. And then I'll kind of slow down a little bit or whatever. Cause I'm like, okay, just you don't want to burn yourself out. But no, it like the streaming joint just kind of started. And I mean, I was playing like Final Fantasy and everything. And it took one of my buddies being like, yo, like, I saw you trying to play RBI baseball. Yeah, I bought RBI baseball for $20. Do not buy that game, guys. It's trash. It
Yeah.
is big trash. They stopped making it this year too. So I guess like the show finally got them the hell up out of here. Well deserved.
It's about time.
But he was like, we're gonna get you with a real baseball game because the show is now on Switch. I mean, now on Xbox. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And he gave me the money or whatever. I went and bought it. And literally, it was like, okay, I'm kind of just doing this, kind of doing this, kind of doing this. And it wasn't until like, and I swear, bro, this is the dopest thing I feel like about this community and everything. When one person finds you, it's like it's a tidal wave from there. It's a tidal wave. It just comes and it's crazy. So I literally was playing Road to the Show and like little stuff and everything, and just learning this game and figuring it out. And I just start meeting some of the dopest people, and I feel like from there and everything, it came to its whole other level. Football season ended, and I was like, okay, what am I gonna do now? And I was like, oh, Twitch. I got so many dope ass people I want to even talk to. Let's bring some Timey Gamers back. And I think the last like 6-7 weeks, we've just gotten just dope people on, just doing stuff, just getting people out here and everything, just like hitting people up, like, yo, let's do this. There's been a couple people where they're just like, yo, I don't really know what we're doing with this podcast thing, but I'm excited. And it's people hitting me up like, yo, dude, you're actually really good at this. And I was like, I appreciate that. I don't really think about it that much or whatever. Like, I'm not even trying to be on no bragging shit. Like, oh, like, no, I'm honestly just like, I'm just having a conversation with the homies. Like, we just like we doing right now. We just chopping it up. We talking or whatever. We shooting the shit. And they're just like, no. Like, you know how to do stuff. Like, you word things a certain way, and I was like, bro. I mean, I guess I've just been, I've been talking for so long now. You don't even think about it.
Yeah. You can tell you're confident talking into the microphone. Like, you're not hesitant at all. You just go. You don't care what people think. You pretend like that there is no one there. There's a million people there. Your energy stays the same, and I love it. It's I'm infectious.
I'm telling you, like, people tell me that all the time. They're like, dude, if I could like just have your energy for like a couple of hours, I'm like, bro. I'm trying to tell you, and that's the only reason too. I always say this beer gut is happening or whatever. Before the pandemic and everything, I was in the club getting busy every week. So it didn't matter or whatever, because like, yo, if I'm coming out here in the music rocking, y'all see me moving, I am moving. You know what I'm saying? So like there's that. And then it's other things too, Moss, where it's like, I've told people like, yo, you're not talking into your microphone right. There's people who have Blue Yetis or whatever who point the Blue Yeti at them, and they don't get like, yo, this is a certain, like, I Google all of this stuff. Like, I'm big on, okay, you know what? Until I know what I'm doing, you need to do research. That's just how I came up with everything.
Hey, and you got to respect that, because that's a well thought out man. That's someone who likes to go through all the steps, make sure they know what they're doing. It's being able to enjoy the process of stuff. It's not always fun to learn all these extra little steps or extra info that you have to go and find on your own, out of your way, but sometimes it just makes it that much better when you do it.
For sure. And then like, even what you guys got here and everything, I can say like, yo, that is incredible, because like whenever I was first starting Don't Bite Your Tongue, I was like, I want a co-host, I want this. But then I realized like, no one's gonna be, at least like the people I was like just talking to and thinking about doing it with, like they're not gonna be into it as much or available to do it as much as I can. Cause there's times where it's just like, yo, I'm bored, let's do an episode. Like, what are we gonna do an episode on? I don't know. I'm gonna find something. Let me go talk to somebody. Like I have like the same reoccurring guests with like wrestling, but besides that, every week a lot of stuff is like different people. So it's just it's different energy, just getting in me and like getting it back out and just mixing and doing all this other stuff or whatever. And then like just like you even said JRinkz or whatever, like they don't understand the little stuff. Just like, oh, I'm gonna do a podcast or whatever. And then like, yo, dog, like we ain't big yet. So like you gotta do all this little nitty-gritty stuff yourself. Like you gotta come in here and edit and mix and it takes a lot, man. Like some days where I'm just like, I gotta do this again, man. But then but that's after the fact, because like during the moment I'm like, yo, this is great. But I'm like, I gotta get like 2 hours of this joint out. Okay, great.
Yeah,
it's work.
It's the time management is the not fun part, but whenever it's done, or like as you're listening back through the stories, sometimes the laughs are even better than when you did it. So, there's always ways to enjoy it. It just depends on which stage you're in. But
question for y'all boys, actually, I this is a real question I like to like ask people to do podcasts, man, because I used to think about this way too much, and now it's kind of just like, okay, whatever. Do you guys go back and listen to your episodes and everything and critique the stuff that you do, and or do you be like, I hate my voice? Because for the longest, I was like, oh God, I messed up there, whatever. And it came to a point where it's just like, I don't care about the numbers. I don't want to look at the numbers. I don't want to do this or whatever. I'm just gonna lock in or whatever. We're gonna do this, and then we're gonna go on with the next one. Because if I sit here and like digress about something that I can't change, it's already in the atmosphere now, it's gonna stop me from doing more and growing and doing what I need to do.
Yeah, fair. I guess I don't necessarily think of trying to change anything. I've always thought I hated my voice forever. So, and I have to live with it. So that's what it is. You just live with it. So even like editing clips and stuff, I'm just like, there's times like Wish I had a cooler voice, but what are you gonna do?
But I feel like your voice matches you so much and everything.
Yeah.
Like I swear, like I've told JRinkz the same thing or whatever. Like I still need to hear like this man's beautiful singing voice, but I just feel like Moss, if you did like music or something or whatever, it gives me like you just appear like it would give me like white Teddy Pendergrass or whatever. Like you just like a big brassy voice. See, JRinkz gets that. He's over here just like, yo, I mean that though, bro. Like for real, I just like, yo, just give it to like heavy voice. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it works with you, you know?
That's funny. For me, I kind of do the same thing. I don't really like my voice, but there's ways like you can do stuff with your microphone to fix it.
Right.
But at the same time, I feel like sometimes it's not authentic. You're messing with your voice and everything. I don't know. I like to be myself. You don't want to have bad audio.
Yeah.
But for me, I kind of like to critique myself and see where I can improve and work on myself, like by week or month or whatever it may be. Just set some different goals. That's kind of what I do, and I rewatch my kind of figure out ways I can improve or do something better.
Yeah.
100% there, man. I've always been like, you know, and I also feel like with like repetition or whatever, you just get better with things. Like I was even telling y'all, like it's times where like, do I want to stream today or whatever? I don't know. And like I tell people all the time, like, yo, if I'm not feeling it, I'm just not gonna do it because like I'd rather give you 100% me, and if I can't do that, you don't deserve it because I'm like, yeah, you spending time out of your busy life or whatever. We all got stuff we do in real life or everything. Like this Twitch thing or just anything with like content or whatever is its own thing. And for people to be like, yo, like we listen to you, we rock with this or whatever, the pod's good. Like, oh, yo, I was watching the stream or whatever, like, yo, you were ecstatic and everything. Like, we literally just came here and like, you know, shit talk Duke for like an hour. Because we had to. You know what I'm saying?
We had to.
What can I say, bro? Like I can talk about this for the rest of my existence, and I'm still on the high from it, honestly.
And hey, and you still have another game.
That wasn't even the biggest one.
It hurts so much or whatever because I know there's people like, yo, like I don't even care if we win. I'm like, bro, no, I fucking care if we win. Let's not say that. Like that's kind of like
it's a little.
I done said,
come on now.
JRinkz, I've joked or whatever with a buddy. I was like, hey, dude, if Hubert wins this joint on the first year, I'm getting a tattoo. I'm getting a tattoo, bro. I was like, I have not got a tat in like years at this point. If they really come in here and win this joint on his first year with this team that no one expected to do this and everything as an 8 seed, which I said us being 8 seed is a little bit disrespectful, and we see it now. I got to get tatted, dog. Like they.
The real question is the location. Where is it going to be at? Is it
the location
one of those jokes where it's on the butt or something like that, or is it going to be like right, boom, slabbed right on the arm?
I don't necessarily know the location, but like, and I've joked about it so much. I'm like, I might have to actually do this. Oh God,
I mean, it's come down to we're one game away.
I've already joked with my girl. I was like, I don't know if we can watch this together, and she's like, why? And I'm like,
you don't want
when we beat Gonzaga, yeah, bro. When we beat Gonzaga a couple years ago, I watched the Final Four game with some buddies, and I told them, I was like, hey, we can't watch the next game together. And they're like, why? And I'm like, when we lost to Nova in 16, I was so nervous. Like, because my dad's the reason why I'm a Carolina basketball fan. Like, that's the first thing that, like, as far as like sporting events with life that I had just always known, it's Carolina basketball.
Okay.
We were so nervous we couldn't even watch the game together. He's downstairs watching it on the big TV. I'm upstairs watching it in my room. I'm on like a 2-second delay. When that last shot happened, I just heard him yell, "Fuck!" And then like you just hear me yell or whatever. And my grandma woke up and was like, "I thought somebody died." And I was like, essentially.
Might as well. Damn it.
Yeah.
A piece of you died. That's what happened.
A piece just it left because I'm like, I'm gonna have to see this stupid shot forever, dude. Ugh.
And the shot that was hit before is 10 million times better than the shot that was hit for the.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, Marcus Page hit one of the crazy. It just for I'm good. I don't want to test no more.
Sorry to bring up the bad memories, but
that was a rough year, man. Trust me, I don't want me to get into that year. That year itself was really rough because if you also remember, the Panthers lost the Super Bowl a couple of months before that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Super Cam couldn't do
What
it.
could what could have been?
The Super Bowl that didn't feel like a Super Bowl. It was like,
I'm gonna tell you guys, don't ever watch a Super Bowl game in church.
Oh,
If
no.
you ever want to rage out or whatever and like throw stuff, but you realize, yo, I'm in church, like this is not the place to do this. Never again. That was a fatal flaw on my point.
Right. I guess the last question I have, unless you want to touch back on anything or the other two have anything, is kind of what's your plan for the future? Any big plans coming up or here in the near future, long term? Any big goals you're working on?
Moss, when I tell you that is an incredible question and I love it so much. And I appreciate y'all boys for giving me this platform and everything because I always say, I'm like, yo, y'all ain't got to do this and everything. But I love it and I appreciate y'all for it. What we got for the future is I like when I tell you like I love a rollout. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I do a little bit of music or whatever, but like I'm definitely not like the levels of the people that do the rollouts and everything. But I love and appreciate just okay, like you got to do stuff. Like so when this past like MLB just dropped at the time of us recording. I had the idea of like, yo, I'm gonna get some like kind of bigger MLB streamers or whatever, get them on the pod. I did that. You know, I told people or whatever, like one of my boys hit me like a couple of months back or whatever. It's like, yo, Mook, you need to get merch. And I was like, am I big enough for merch yet? And he was like,
You're always
bro, you need to
big
get
enough for
merch. He's like, if you drop merch, people will buy it. Like, I think people fuck with you enough. And I was like, if you say so, yeah.
Okay.
Moss, we talked about all that or whatever, got merch right. You know what I'm saying? Just it's the small things or whatever. We're like, I don't know where the podcast is gonna go. And I really honestly don't know, whatever. But also I'm having so much fun just doing it daily, weekly, all this stuff, where like I don't really care. Like it gets me through a lot of stuff or whatever. Some days are dark. Some days are just like I'm in here or whatever, just sitting in the dark like Batman or whatever, you know, just like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like what are we gonna do today? And it gets me out of there. Like I enjoy it so much. Streaming has become its own like it literally started off as something just to promote for the podcast, and it's become its own monster. And every time I'm just like, y'all really sit here and watch me be mediocre at this game. Mediocre. Like I'm like I'm getting way better. Like that's insane. Because I look at my like I've looked at some old stuff and I was like, bro, I was really on directional hitting and pulse pitching and y'all sit here and watch this joint. Like this is insane. Like it's incredible. Music, man. Shout out my boy Donnie again, man. Just get some love to him or whatever. His name's Don Stefan 24 or XXIV. He's dropping a new album. I've already got my verse recorded. Well, not recorded. I've already got my verse written. I'm gonna be on his new album, whatever. I was on his past album that he dropped or whatever. Now One Now Forever. Just instant classic. More music to come. I've really been back on like just writing again. Where like I'll sit here and Moss, I think I told you the other day, whatever. I was like, hey bro, be right back, or whatever, about to lock in and write some bars.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been writing and everything, just kind of like some stuff. JRinkz, I think I told you whatever. Like I found a fellow streamer and everything, and like she sings or whatever. Like I sent her a lot of stuff and just like yo, hey, because she told me she was like yo, I can do the writing or whatever. Don't worry about it. I was like, all right, bet. And I got another homegirl where she's like, I can't get creative like you, Mookie. Like just this, and I've written whole R&B songs or whatever, and sent it to her like just the written version. She's like, this is incredible. Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, you really like this? Like, I was like, I just kind of, I thought this was gonna be terrible. Yeah, I thought it was gonna be terrible. And she's like, no, this is really, really good. So she's like, yo, send me like a reference track. And I'm like, I gotta sing it to the mic. I cannot sing, guys. I cannot sing. So like, I'm just, but like both of them are just so talented. I'm just like, I would love to sit here and just like create and just make R&B, do a little bit of my raps or whatever, like just more of that. The podcast is gonna keep going or whatever. Like wrestling, we go every week. I can probably count like maybe 2 weeks or whatever we haven't done one. I mean, that's why wrestling's like the most of the podcasts. I think we're already on like episode 136 or something, whatever, like wrestling edition. Twitch, man. it's so fun. I really I look forward to, like it's taking over me going out and like going to the club or whatever. 'Cause, like I
Yes.
felt bruh, I found an amazing woman. I can't give her enough love because I always say it. I'm like she didn't have to buy me this microphone. She doesn't have to put up with like, hey, I'm gonna be really busy and I got to do this or whatever. But she does. And I'm like, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to do a lot of this stuff that I truly enjoy. And she's like, who am I to tell? And it's wild too, because sometimes I'm just like, do you listen to shit, any of this or whatever? Like, I mean, I've written whole songs about her. You know what I'm saying?
Wait,
I'm like,
did she even hear that? I don't think she did. You
I
drop a
never
line
heard
and
it.
she like doesn't notice, and you're just like, oh damn.
JRinkz, it's a running joke or whatever, where I'm just like, oh, okay, we're like 10 minutes in. There's no way M's heard this part. Like, she doesn't listen to these. I was like, she probably go through like the first 2 minutes. She's like, he's still doing the intro. I'm out. Just like, come out of here. But I guess to wrap it all in a pretty little bow, man, like I always say, like, I might not even have the funds or the stuff to like get to certain levels where people are at yet, but I refuse to be outworked. And even on the time where like I'm not working, I'm doing something. I'm thinking of like where people be like, yo, like we want more streams, bro. And I'm like, y'all don't know I'm recording like 2 or 3 pods during the week. I'm writing music during the week. I'm doing this other stuff or whatever. Like I just refuse to it be capped out. Like because everyone always says like, yo, it's the energy or whatever. Like it's a lot of stuff or whatever. It's a lot of people doing things and everything. But like as long as you're gonna be you, I don't think you can be stopped. And I'm like, I'm looking like, yo, that's crazy. But when enough people tell you that or whatever, and I feel the same way myself, where it's just like, hey, man, I, I believe it, so why shouldn't they?
Sometimes
yeah.
the biggest thing is though, like you said, the energy.
Mm-hmm.
When you listen to someone talk or when you're in someone's stream, sometimes you truly get their energy. Like when they're fired up and they're just like you can tell as a person, they're just living. They're just having a good time and you can feel like how much fun they're having. It rubs off on you. And so
Yeah.
when they're cracking
Energy can
jokes,
only be
laughing,
transferred.
Yes, sir.
like they're jolly, all that shit rubs off on you and then you can carry it on with your day. That's like the biggest thing that I've noticed from really good streams. Like that's the most important part is being able to not only set up like the right type of environment where you can just be yourself and be silly, whether you're cracking jokes, talking about random topics, like it's just important to let that out because if you hide it, people aren't going to get it. But when you do, that's when people truly connect with you. And
1000%.
that's the coolest part about Twitch is it might replace some of your social life. Like you said, you're not going out you're not going out to the club, but
Yeah.
you're still meeting a bunch of random new people on the internet. You still get to see them sometimes face to face like this. And that's the coolest part is you meet all walks of life. You meet anybody. Sometimes you run into, yeah, but
Yeah.
you find some fucking amazing people. And that's what makes it work. Like every second of it.
100%.
Big facts, man. I look at it where it's like I'm always just 100% myself. Cause like there's times and there's situations where it's like it's people I still talk to this day where like I just met them downtown. I was the guy over here having fun at the bar or whatever, like drunk as hell, and like we still talk just because like yo, like oh yo, like you here at the bar, whatever, like yo, you want to drink, you want a shot, like oh, okay. We sit here and chop it up or whatever, and then, like yo, like I still talk to you, whatever. Like yo, you got kids now, whatever. Like yo, like what size shoe your son wear, whatever. I'm about to go shoot this or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like I rock with you, and then like even with like the people I'm meeting now and everything. And I'm gonna just say, like, with y'all's crew, I already feel like I've known y'all for years. And it's only been like a couple months.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I was literally going to say the exact same words. Like,
Bruh.
I've known you for just a handful of months, and I feel like I've known you my whole life just because we clicked right away. You got that. I can tell just by how short time I've known you. I can tell how hard you work, how nice of and just genuine person you are. And those people, when you meet them, you just know. When someone is just 100% themselves and just they aren't afraid to just live and put themselves out there, you always seem to click right away. And I think that's generally the people that I enjoy meeting the most. The people that are just 100% them. They're not putting on characters. They're not pretending to be something on stream, and then as soon as they're off stream, they're a completely different person. That when you can tell, and it just feels more genuine. Those are the people that become your friends.
It's amazing and everything. And I joke, whatever. I believe I've been laughing with some buddies and everything now, where I'm like, dude, my girl's so introverted or whatever compared to me, where sometimes she's just like, God, can we go somewhere without people knowing you or you talking to everyone? And I'm like, I even look at it, whatever, it goes back to like the P-Dog, Mook0g nickname and everything, where I'm just like, I'm my dad 100%. Like, my dad knows everyone. He could just meet a random stranger and everything, and like 2 seconds later or whatever, but like, how long have you known them? Oh no, I just met that dude.
Yep.
And my mom would be like, what? And she's like, well, now she's just used to, like almost 30 years of marriage or whatever at this point with them. Shout out to him. But just my dad's always been like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just it's times and it's this and it's that, but like it's I feel like I was just raised right, man. And it shows. And I've always tried to be, like we talked about it before the pod, a man of my word. Like, when I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. Like, just and always just grinding or whatever. I even looked at stuff for, like, my dad's retired now. My mom used to have to make him take days off. And I'm the same way, where it's like, my girl's like, blah, 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 or this, that, and the third, or whatever. Like, you don't want to overwork yourself or whatever. I'm just like, overwork myself or whatever. Like, this talking thing is easy. Do you know what I do for work? Like, I used to work with my hands. Like, like, I could do this for hours. Like, this is nothing.
Yeah, I kind of understand that, because I've done a few like heavy manual labor jobs. So talking and just bullshitting with people, that's nothing. It's nothing compared to moving like metal around and stuff. It's not fun.
I do want to put this into the atmosphere too. I do want to put this into the atmosphere or whatever. I'm enjoying this pod so much. I almost don't even want it to end. I'm putting this to the atmosphere, whatever, and we're gonna speak this into existence and everything. And I don't want to call anyone out, because that's not the intention of this. This is just to get out great work. It is April of 2022 right now. Correct, boys?
Yes.
Yep.
Before this year is over, myself and JRinkz will be doing a EP together. We will be doing an EP together. It's gonna happen. I'm going to get it out of you. He's making a face right now, guys, or whatever. Y'all see him? It's going to happen. I don't know if I have to annoy him, or if I have to just sit here and just like send him poems in the morning, or like just sing random bars, or already just have like songs halfway done to just say, yo, jump in here, or here's a beat, write a hook. Me and JRinkz will be doing a project. I don't know if it's gonna be EP or LP or whatever. That will be dropping in 2022 sometime. It's happening.
I like the sound of that.
I also like the sound of that.
I'm making. Hey, JRinkz is happening. You can't back out now, bro.
What genre we're going? I mean, obviously it's gonna be like more R&B / hip hop rap, but like, it'll just come to us in the moment. That's all I'm gonna say. It's gonna be capturing what's going down on those days.
Yeah, about 8 months.
I'm blowing your lineup, and I'm telling you, bro. Like, it's gonna get to the point where you're like, Mook's hitting me again or whatever. But like it's gonna be so fire and undeniable. You're gonna be like,
I have to do it.
I'm gonna
I have to do it.
I'm gonna grab that inspiration out of you, man. Because like, just like the little times I talk to you and everything, I'm just like, oh nah, like this dude got it. And even when we talked about the Mac Miller thing in particular, I literally typed it. I typed it, and you noticed when I was like, yo, dog, I love you, man. I was like, I mean this, bro. I was like, people, if you don't get it, you can't. But I was like, oh, nah, this dude gets it, bro. Like, we was talking about like deep stuff too,
it's
like
stuff that's just built into you. You literally, like you said, you can't learn it.
It's organic.
It's all just, you either have it or don't.
And that's kind of Mook, why I mentioned when I was talking before I was on your podcast. I mentioned, I was like, you gotta meet JRinkz. I could tell you two are gonna kick it off. You're gonna vibe. You both got very similar music tastes and interests. I was like, I knew it.
and T, don't think I'm ignoring you either, bro. Whatever, it's all love too. Whatever, I'm just meeting you as well. But like, bro,
yeah,
word, it's stuff coming, man. Stuff coming. I can't wait.
But
If you like, you got in the background right there, whatever. Literally, make it happen. I love that. I love that.
Oh.
I need that.
Work hard.
Work
Boom,
hard.
right
Make it
there.
happen, bro.
Right there.
It
And the
writes
and.
itself, bro.
And
It's
sign,
right
I don't know if
there.
you see it.
and the and sign, yep.
The color's little
Bro, that's amazing, man.
got me through a lot.
Yes, sir.
But unless either of you two have anything else for Mook, any other questions or?
I just want.
I'm just curious.
Oh no, you go, Tom. You go.
I was gonna say, what's one piece of advice that you've learned recently that has helped you get through some stuff besides the work hard? What's one piece of advice you'd give someone? Someone came up to you and was like, "Give me one piece of advice right now." Spot.
One piece of advice, man, and I love that so much or whatever because I feel like I keep telling y'all boys or whatever. I don't think it's a cocky thing, and I don't even think it's like just this. But for me to be doing what I'm doing and everyone just being like, "Yo, like this is amazing, dude. Like you're really good at this." Am I? Like, I'm thinking to myself like, yeah, like for the masses and the people to be telling me this or whatever. Like I've joked where it's like, yo, there's certain things or whatever. Like I'm just a little dude from like a little small Air Force town. You know what I'm saying? And I guess the piece of advice would just be, man, like if you got some or whatever. I mean, it's gonna sound so generic and cliche, but like I tell people all the time or whatever, and like I tell my girl this so heavy. Yo, like you can't just be in certain things. Like we all have our bad days. Don't get me wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, but I always say, yo, your thoughts become things. At least I believe that, you know. So I tell her like, no. This is going to happen. This is going to do this. Like I tell her all the time, I'm like, we're gonna look back or whatever, and you're gonna be like, yo, you started this off as just like a little random drunk idea, and look where we're at now. And I feel like this is still just the beginning. So like, if you really are feeling something, just go for it. Only you can stop yourself is what I feel like it's been the thing. Cause like for the longest, I'm just like, yo, why would I do this? People aren't gonna like this, blah, 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 this, that, and everything. No. Only you can stop yourself because you could do that, but maybe you just didn't realize it. Or maybe you just, like sometimes feel like people think like you're supposed to just start stuff and then tomorrow you're gonna be like this. And no, that's I don't think that's really ever the case. I mean, we're all blessed in our own ways, but it takes the grind, it takes the work, it takes doing stuff in there, it takes development. Like, I mean, I can go back and probably listen to like my first episode we ever dropped or whatever, and I remember it like we reviewed Tyler the Creator's Igor album. I'll probably go back and listen to that podcast and be like, I was trash. I didn't know what I was talking about. We were just doing this, and compare it to now, and I'll be like, dude, how is that the same person?
But
just go for it. Just really go for it.
But it comes down to all that practice and reps, and then you end up finding shortcuts and how to do something maybe a little bit, more proficient, and you just start, making it better. And that's kind of like you said, you got to just do it. I know that's been a theme on our podcast. You got to just go out and do it, because if you don't post, if you don't edit, if you don't do any of that, you're never going to figure it out. And so, like, literally, like, that's just what it comes down to, is being able to go out, study, learn a little bit. Even like you said, if it might be brand new, you might not know what you're doing 100%, but you're going to grow.
Yeah.
And so
I was telling a buddy this, man. I was telling him recently because like he's kind of bigger on Twitch or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Way more followers than me or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's nothing. I'm a nobody. But like he's like, yo, I've considered doing a pod or just doing this or whatever. And I'm just like, just do it. And he's like, yo, I was like, no, just you. I was like, you gotta work out a lot of kinks or whatever. Yeah, but like, dude, you're so good at all the stuff you do, whatever. Why do you think he wouldn't be good at that too?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, damn, Mook. Like, and I was like, bro, I was like, somebody had to sit here and tell me this. Like, there's times where like I sit here and tell my girl stuff and I get frustrated about small stuff. And eventually she'll just be like, you're gonna figure it out. You usually do. And I'm like, yeah, you got a point there.
That's right. Yeah.
You got a point there. I usually figure it out. It might take me a little bit of time, but you do it.
Mm-hmm. And it's trial and error. That's what it comes down to. Is are you willing to go through a little bit extra time for when you mess up? So
And most people aren't. Most people, they try something and they're like, that's way too much work. Don't have the time.
Yeah,
that's
and
harder than I thought.
Yeah.
I've been harping on these two. I've been harping on all my other friends in the streaming community, everything. I've been preaching harder than anyone I know to just do it. People are like, "Hey, I want to have it be on TikTok, but I don't want post. Just post.
Yeah.
I want to stream.
Not me.
Just do it. Click go
This
live.
is
Click
the
the button."
advocate right here. This guy
I
right down
literally everyone they're like, "Well, I want to get more followers in this. We'll go post on this. Go do this. Hey, you want to start YouTube? We'll start a YouTube. What's holding you up to start it? You can't start without starting."
A lot of time, I think it's fear of being judged.
Yeah.
My thing, fear of just like negative comments and everything. But at the end of the day, just you love doing it. Like Mook just said, you're the one who's stopping yourself. Sometimes those thoughts that we think aren't there. Like, you ever have those moments where you're sitting there and you're like going through a situation that will never ever happen? Like, you're like, okay, if there's like a guy coming in my room right now, what am I gonna do? Like, that would never happen. You know, like
I got the bat.
chances are very slim. I mean, it happens, but like, you know what I mean? Like shower thoughts, right? How many of those times, like 99% of the stuff that we think and worry about, like, no, that doesn't happen. Doesn't exist. We spend all this time worrying about something that may or may never happen. You know? I
Yeah.
think about that sometimes.
You do it, and honestly, it's just like what I was talking about with certain things. Like it took like somebody inspiring me, and like it's people telling me now, like one of my boys or whatever just got back into Twitch or whatever, and he was like, "Dude, honestly, I saw you kicking ass or whatever," and I was just like, "Dude, I should just do it." I'm like, "That's crazy to think or whatever." Like just me just doing this joint inspired you to do it, like or me just being bored and being like, yo, like I'm in a music mode. Like I heard something that just made me just want to write. And it took you to a lot. Like that's insane, bro. I'm not gonna lie. It is truly just like I still think it sounds like me. Like really? Like I don't even know if it's like just like legit me, really? It's crazy.
I got a kind of future good question. I know you're still streaming off Xbox and whatnot, and I'm assuming you're planning to get towards being on that PC. Have you ever thought about doing your music and recording your music and all that stuff while streaming?
That is a great question. It's something I would definitely look forward to doing and everything. I mean, y'all have seen random times or whatever I'm here. Like I said, like my streams are just fun, man. I enjoy them so much, and I've joked with them like, yo, like when I live with old girl, I can't just smoke in the crib no more, or whatever. Certain little things I'm gonna figure out and all this type of stuff. And I'll drop some freestyles here and there or whatever. I even remember when like Now When I've Ever dropped and like sending it to all y'all boys or whatever, or y'all being like, "Oh wait, Mook, you make music too?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And like I think the funniest thing, or whatever, was just being like, and to some people it would come off as like a slight, but to me, I'm just like, "Nah, that's real." Where he was like, Mook, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like this shit really good, and I was like, bro, if you only knew, like I was not even trying to be like on the like cocky or rude stuff or whatever, but like I was like, I came in, my boy sent me the beat, I let it sit for like 2 days. I locked in, literally sat on the toilet. I'm literally my father. He would sit on the toilet, read newspaper every morning. I sat on the toilet or whatever, and I came up with my verse and the hook in like 2 hours. And like my boy would just randomly like send me a snap of him jamming to my music to start his morning and be like, yo, this is how we starting off today. And I'm just like, that's crazy. I'm like, that is crazy. Like, and I can't wait for it to be a day where like I always have this image in my head where like there's an amphitheater probably like 2 miles down the road from my house, right? Like in a park. And I always have this image of me just, I don't know, not even just rapping or just doing a live podcast. Yeah, and like the whole park being filled with people, and like backstage or whatever, like it's my mom, my dad, and my grandma, and maybe other family members, and I'm just almost crying of the thought of like, like they didn't realize this was a thing. Like that's always this thing, and I'm like, I'm gonna make that happen.
Manifest it.
And
That's
to.
what it is.
you got to be determined too, because like it does come down to sometimes who you know, but sometimes the catapult that actually hits when your ideas truly land and people are 100% behind it is nuts. It's honestly insane what you can push.
That's 1000% JRinkz. So whatever, like literally the last week we were talking about, and like Moss said earlier, it was like, yo, some weeks I drop 2 pods and do a stream, and then like this week or whatever, I drop 5 pods. And like every time you look or whatever, like you keep seeing me. You know what I'm saying? Like not even the thing where like you gotta overflood the market or whatever, no, but like sometimes I'm just feeling it. And like a thing of it gets to a point. I wanted to get to a point where it's like we can't ignore this dude no more. We just can't. Like he's everywhere. He can't be ignored. Like they're gonna have to be like, how do we get this dude on our team? How do we get this dude to get this or whatever? Because he's undeniable.
They at
I
least
want
got to
that.
put eyes on it.
I truly want it, and like I feel like I said, I feel like only I can stop myself, because at this point or whatever, like, bro, it's honestly even think of like kind of what T was saying too, like negativity and like just the fear of I feel failure, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also like, if I don't try either or also, that's failure. That's failure in itself. Because I stopped me.
Instead of
I can't stop doing this. Like I'll call Donnie, whatever. We talked literally this week, and he was like, "Mook, it's people telling me like, yo, you know this and everything, whatever. But like the joint that you did might be the best song on the album." And he said it, and I feel like literally like the same week and month, a lot of people like I just were saying the same thing, and I was like, that's kind of crazy. Like that's really kind of crazy. So.
Well, let me tell you. If I know you keep saying you don't want to brag about yourself or talk too confident, but I know I can. I can talk you up and hype you up, and I want to say right now, like if creators were stocks and I could invest my money in one, I'm going all in on Mook. This man, like I said, I've only known him for a little bit, but I can genuinely see how just a good person and hardworking and just he's built for this. He's made for this, and he's gonna be doing it big. It may not be right away, but he's gonna get there, and I can see that.
I appreciate it so much, Moss. Like I remember, like literally, like I think it was a stream you did either Friday or yesterday, where like you were like, bro, we were just talking about you, and I'm like, and that happens or whatever. I told you like, yo, this past week or whatever, because like I said, people didn't even realize. They're like, yo, I didn't even know you did a podcast, but like, dude, like I'm downloading now, I'm listening now, like this is really good, and I'm just like,
I was literally talking about because I was listening at work, and I was literally like talking about a conversation that what you were having, and I was bringing it up, and literally 5 seconds later, types in chat. I'm just like, that's literally how it was. I was like, I literally like seconds ago was talking about you.
manifest, man. I feel like even like shout out to former guest CJ, man. Like one of my favorite joints. When I told him this yesterday, I was like, when you were just trashed and like you played me and Moss episode and you were literally breaking it down like you were there. Like I was like, that's like so some people that's like, I told my girl about that joint and she was like, so he was listening to your podcast live on the stream, and I was like, yeah. And she's looking at me like, and I'm like, no, like this happened. Like I could go back and show you like the joint when it posts. Like it happened here. Like I can't explain it myself.
I'm not gonna lie, that was fucking hilarious to listen to CJ react, because he was
and
like,
it was the pause and then just like him talking over it, like what he would say. Then
he was rewinding them, like going back and being like,
kind of like, wait, I missed some. Hold on. Wait, this is the right. Yeah, we're good.
And I'm mentioning y'all and everything. He's like, nah, this or whatever, and blah blah. And I was like, no, it's that stuff, and it's like, yo, like everything you just said to Moss, man. It's literally it's incredible to see, and it's like I said, it's just the beginning, and also, bro. I mean, I tell you, it's so much or whatever to the point where even I'm like, I always say like I don't think I can get burned out because like I enjoy it too much. I truly just enjoy this. Like I want to if I had more, like I said, I want to get to the point where it's like I don't have to sit here and like do this job 40 hours a week
Mm-hmm.
where I could just if I could lock in and just get more time to do this.
You'll
I
be
joke
there.
I joke
We'll
with a
get you
buddy.
there. We'll get you there.
We'll be there.
I joke with a buddy or whatever, and me and JRinkz are gonna talk about it whenever we finish this or whatever. I was like, hey, bro, Donnie put me on some real stuff or whatever, where he's like, hey, you don't want to put like not even a cap on yourself, but you don't want to be like, okay, yo, this is dropping, right? But you got to say to yourself, like, hey, I need everything done by this time. And because when you do that, you know, like, hey, this is coming. I need to finish. You know what I'm saying?
You
Not
install
even
that
just to stop
urgency.
yourself, but it's like, yeah, like not even to stop yourself, but just to be like, hey, we need to put this out because if not, I'm gonna keep progressing and progressing and progress. Like it was years where, like I said, I had this mic for over like a year before I figured out what I want to do with it. I wish I would have started earlier. I wish I would have did this or whatever. And I look at it now and I'm like, dude, I'm almost 400 episodes with the pod. I'm on a couple of albums or whatever. I want to release my own. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, like streaming. I wish I would have did that earlier or whatever, but like I feel like everything happens when it's supposed to. And I truly believe that. And I think it's gonna happen. And I guess I don't want to keep just like leading this on or progressing this or whatever, because I know you guys have to go to whatever. You know, we're all busy individuals. I appreciate this so much or whatever because like I just did a pod with one of my boys or whatever too. And I had him on my joint, and then he was like, yo, we're gonna get you on ours or whatever. And I was like, I love the fact that you guys like, you know, got the olive branch out. Like, you know, when I got Moths on the pod and everything, right? And we talked, and he was like, yo, we're gonna get you on ours and everything. Let's grow together, bro. Like, I want all my people I know and I love to succeed. Like, I will randomly just say this joint or whatever. Like, I mean, there's a dude I just met a couple of weeks ago, and he posted some joint, and I just reposted out of nowhere, and he hit me on the low and was like, yo, I appreciate that you wouldn't have to do that shit. And I was like, I fuck with you. Like I was like, we grow. Like the first pod I ever like, because there was people like where I'm like, yo, let's connect pods, let's do this, let's do that, and everyone was like, yeah, and then they just never hit me back. Like the first dudes that really did it or whatever, like, I mean, and I'll give him a shout out. There was my boy Matt. Like he doesn't even really do his pod anymore, but like yo, like he hit me up and we connected. We did a pod. We rock with each other. We got each other's numbers. We talk every day now. He has a whole like, I mean, he's a professional chef. He has a whole like taco kit in Cali. And I was like, dude, I cannot wait for one day for someone to be like, yo, I heard about you on this or whatever. So I came and got the tacos. Like, I tell him this joint or whatever. And I'm just like, yo, like I appreciate the fact we did this or whatever. Cause I'm just like, yo, but like, why would I just want this to be to me or whatever? I feel like that's just greed. You know, I've never want to be a greedy person. I want to share this or whatever. Cause I'm like, it's too much. It's not even just money because I don't give a fuck about money, whatever. Honestly, I mean, I'm so content with this or whatever. I mean, I got back to eating ramen noodles a couple of years ago, whatever, and it was the best thing that happened to me. You know, like I was like, yo, am I getting too bougie for this? I'm like, nah,
money
but
doesn't determine flavor. That's all I'm saying.
It don't, because I'm just like, yo, I could be this little dude or whatever living in this one bedroom with me and Coco and just be so happy compared if I was in a mansion, just being like, yo, do these people even fuck with me or they fuck with me because I'm me?
Is it because of the money or is it because of me? And it just comes down to, again, people being genuine and being able to keep good people around you. Good people grow together.
I read this in a book. This guy, you know, he paid off, or he said, gosh, his carpet. He had this stupid carpet. He hated it, right? Hated it. So he finally changed it, right? After like 8 years. So he got new carpet, paid for it, and then he went to light a candle and match lit, and he dropped it on accident, burned a giant hole in the carpet. And he's like, you know what? If I had the old carpet, I wouldn't have cared. But I got this brand new carpet that I spend a bunch of money on. Now I'm just pissed off. And he's like, you know what? Let's just go back to the old stuff. Like, he's basically saying, like, appreciate what you have. You may want more, but like that more stuff is just going to add more stress. Like the fact that people, I don't remember where I heard this or read this. People have bigger houses in today's society compared to back then.
Oh
But
yeah.
those same people have a storage unit. Like, you have a house and a storage, you just have so much stuff. You can't fit it in your house. That's crazy.
All that
I tell
space
my girl
you
this
can't
all the
store.
time and everything, because like she'll never admit it, but I'm like, you come from like a different situation and just everything than where I came from. Because there's times where like, shout out my dad again, like he got his life together and he was like, yo, like my kid's life's gonna be better than mine. And I definitely want that for whenever I have children one day, you know?
Mm.
So like that's another reason why I work. Like I tell my girl or whatever, I'm like, I'm doing all this shit now and I'm not around as much or whatever. But like whenever you get to go to Target and you don't care about the price no more, that's what I work for. It's little stuff like that. Like Coco's never unfed. I'm never like everything I do and I try to strive for is because I'm just like, I have this idea in my head where like, I don't want no one to have to like work with their hands no more. I don't really want to do it myself. And just, I've seen like, like I can't even sit here in front like, oh, I'm saying like blah blah blah, whatever this, because hey, my dad got us in a good situation or whatever. Like, I mean, I pretty much grew up in the suburbs or whatever. I'll be real with that. But like when I was with my grandma, we was back in the hood, we was back in the projects or whatever. I've seen this. I've had treat meat, spam, and Vienna sausages. You know what I'm saying, ramen or whatever. And I'm like, yo, like that's still cool, but like I ain't gotta live like that or whatever, and I can work harder to not live like that, you know.
It's when you don't have to do something. It's
Right,
when
like I choose to.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's amazing, man. It's an amazing feeling.
I love to hear it. Love to hear it.
Also,
But
I just want to quick touch on the same microphone that you had for your first microphone.
Uh-huh.
There was a group of my friends in high school. We were just making random music, just, and one day we were like, okay, we're gonna record something. But we don't have a mic. So we all pulled in because the one dude that was making beats, we all bought him a mic. We were just like, fuck it. We know he's gonna have people just like hop on his beats, so let's just get him the mic. That's the same exact mic we bought. Same thing we used to record. At least I helped record my first ever EP. It wasn't necessarily mine, but like as a group, we all did it.
Right.
That was pretty cool. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Also, one of my favorite football players of all time from ECU.
Hey,
my boy Chris Johnson. So I just got to shout that out because I see behind you on your blankets.
Yes, sir. I love it, man. I'm telling you, man. JRinkz and Mook project coming this year, bro. Be ready. Streets ain't ready for it.
It'll happen sometime.
I know
it's
I'm ready for
somehow.
it. But is everyone else
I'm
ready
also
for
ready for it.
Like Moss and T want it right now, y'all. I'm like, yo, like I'm telling y'all, I'm going.
When's it dropping? That's what I want to know. Like what?
Hey,
be announced.
I feel like JRinkz is more of like an R&B guy, man, and like we spoke about certain stuff and everything. So like, let's just throw it out here in the atmosphere, man. Like when it's getting back colder outside, man, just expect some dope ass music to just vibe to, bro. We gonna make that happen, man. I've said it here now. We speaking into existence, man. Manifesting it.
Yeah. Unless anyone got anything else to touch on before we wrap this thing up?
I guess I can just do the normal things or whatever,
yeah,
man.
Shout yourself out.
Mm-hmm.
I know you got a lot of platforms. Make sure everyone knows where to find you, and I'll have you send us the link so we can make sure to post it down below and all that stuff.
Yes, sir.
Start with the Twitch.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Twitch.tv/mookd0g. The ON dog is a 0. Make sure, you know what I'm saying? Like, you'll find it or whatever. Shout out my boy Ryan Clear. He actually made me a dope ass logo that I've just switched over to because I was like, yo, I need the logo. You know, like you've seen it for the merch and everything too. Like, that was all him. Like, and he didn't even charge me for that. Like, I was gonna pay him, and he was like, dude, I fuck with you. So I got it. And I was like, are you sure? He's like, bro, like, he's like, I like what you're doing. So I like, and that's love. You can't even, you can't make that up. Like, you keep saying. So yeah, twitch.tv/mookd0g. The O is a 0. Go rock with it. I do playlists every month on Apple Music and Spotify or whatever, tunes I'm listening to and everything like that. Because I always say, like, I love music so much. I do. So a lot of stuff or whatever will be some mainstream or whatever, and then you'll hear some random stuff where it's just like, yo, Mook, what you know about this? I was like, hey, bro, I when it comes to dope music, I just love it. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. You know, me and JRinkz spoke on that a little bit too, but I make those playlists every month or whatever. It's all on my link tree. We got merch now. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Moths with that and everything. Go rock with the merch. I'm rocking me all summer. I won't be stopped or whatever. You could be annoyed about it because, you know, hey, bro, I love and I appreciate it and everything. You know, big shouts out to, you know, streamers merch and everything. Like, just dope people over there. It's incredible. I'm blessed to be part of like a dope collective and just be a part of that and like everything. We're on, of course, like I said, Twitch, Twitter, my Instagram, my actual page or whatever. You guys can follow that. See beautiful pictures of my girl, myself, and Coco. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much all I post or whatever, really. I also have the Don't Bite Your Tongue Instagram as well, where I be, you know, just the episodes or whatever I'm dropping, you know, just doing things. The podcast. Yeah, man, Don't Bite Your Tongue with Mookie, wherever you get platforms or whatever, podcasts, Apple Pods, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play. I'm pretty much on everything, whatever I found out. Like I'm on random pod joints or whatever. I don't even know what they're called. But according to one of my buddies, he was like, dude, you're over here. And I was like, oh, that's cool. We do a lot of stuff over there between like interviewing streamers. We do wrestling every week. We do some music reviews or whatever. I got to get back on those and everything, kind of heavy, but I've just been busy with so much stuff. Sports, we kind of fell off with basketball, but like the football crew, whatever, we kind of got that locked in or whatever. We did every week this past year. We're gonna actually kind of I got something new coming up for the upcoming football season where I feel like people are gonna rock with. So you know, it's gonna keep that little out in the atmosphere or whatever. And I guess the last thing, man, music, bro. SoundCloud, you know, mookd0g, you know, same way or whatever. The Owen Dog's the 0. More music dropping real soon. I was blessed to be a part of a dope ass album called 919 Forever. It's actually spelt like that, like, you know, NINE, you know, 19, and then Forever was 43 VA. I was on 4 songs on that album. And I actually did the hook for the best song, Multiply. Make sure to check that one out. That one's the heat that everyone's loving. I'm gonna be on a future album with my boy Donnie, and I'm writing my own stuff or whatever. Shout out my homegirl Ray or whatever. I sent her a lot of stuff where she said she's gonna hit me back. I'm writing some R&B stuff with my homegirl Ellen, and like we talked about it. We're gonna keep talking about it because it's gonna happen this year, man. You know, Mook and JRinkz EP or LP coming out later on this year, man. It's happening. I cannot wait. But I think that's all I got, man. I mean, just we not gonna stop. I refuse.
I see why your girl says you're busy.
Bruh. I'm telling you, she does not get it, but then like everyone else's reaction, she's just like she's always shocked. And I'm just like, it's going to a point you can't be shocked no more, love. The funniest thing was like this past week, like we talked about like I dropped so many episodes and I would come in and everything. And literally I was just like, I just played the phone for her and I'd come in and say like, year, you know, I would drop the years for people, you know, get a year in there. And the next thing, yo, Mook, W Pod, yo, Mook, the pod was great, ball. Yo, Mook, the pod, and like, she's just like, and all these people listen, and I'm like, yeah. she just still does not get it. And I'm just like, I don't know what I keep gotta doing to tell you, like, we're working over here. I'm not just BSing when I'm telling you, like,
I'm doing,
you know, I'm doing work.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I appreciate y'all boys giving me this platform, man. Y'all are the best, man. Like, continue to listen to this pod, and hey, we all up next, bro. We all up next. That's all I gotta say. We speaking this to his distance and everything. We all up.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But that's that for this episode. Another episode of the T and Moss Pod. If you're on YouTube, like, share, subscribe. Podcast, Spotify, anywhere else, give us a like, rate us. We would appreciate any love. So, okay, I can't with D. I could tell he had a standing desk, and now he's just playing tricks on us. But until next time.
Deuces.